Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan Dubrow, and I am the founder of BleedingEagleGreen.com. This is our first video blog ever, so bear with me. I'm using the flip cam, and I'm using what I have. I'm using the resources that I have, and it'll work for now. So bear with me, and hopefully better things will come, and better technologies will come in the future. We're going to talk about a couple of things tonight regarding the Philadelphia Eagles and the way the 2011 season has played out. And you've all heard the way it's being described. It's been an embarrassment. It's a disgrace, and they are all of the above. It really is all of the above. So let's go ahead and let's get into that a little bit. And as always, if you have any comments or anything like that, just be sure to express them in the featured article, at the top of the website there. So, first order of business is the fate of Andy Reid, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and will he be back for 2012? Per NFL Network, Jason La Canfora, apparently he will. But there are going to have to be some changes made, drastic changes made, and that's primarily on the defensive side of the ball. It's being said that Juan Castillo is going to have to basically go in order for Reid to stay, and there's no reason why Juan Castillo should not go. It was an experiment, and the experiment failed. I could understand maybe if the Philadelphia Eagles defense was on a more consistent basis, should I say, being productive, and then you could say, it was Castillo's first year, and you got to give him the second year. Now, in this situation, the defense has failed in so many situations. It's ridiculous. Have just completely collapsed in the fourth quarter of too many games this season, and that's a resemble of why the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-8 at this point. Fourth quarter collapses. So. Sorry, Juan, I'm sure you're a great guy, and I know you have a great friendship with Andy Reid there, but your time in Philly's done. Unless you're willing to go back to the offensive side of the ball somewhere, I really don't see you. Even if you did want to go back to the offensive line, there's no room for you in Philadelphia anymore. So, hate to see you go, but you got to go. With that being said, if Juan is willing to go back to the offensive side of the ball, one NFL team is going to be very fortunate. If Castillo is willing to go back to being an offensive line coach, someone's going to benefit from the Eagles letting him go. That's all I'm going to say about that situation. And we'll see how it plays out and where he ends up. Best of luck to Juan. He's been a huge part of the success and part of the reason of the success for the Philadelphia Eagles for so long as the offensive line coach. So, best of luck to Juan is all I can say. Moving on, we move into the contract status of Deshaun Jackson, and it's still, as it's been all season long, mute point. And what I mean by that is there's no negotiations at this point from what's being told to the general public anyways. So it's a shame. It's a shame that it's all the way it's all played out. Deshaun should have never been forced into a situation where he had to go through an 11-day holdout. It is what it is. It's the nature of the business, and I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles have their reasons for not extending the contract at this point. I don't agree with them. The guy should have been signed a long time ago. And as soon as you brought Steve Smith in on a one-year deal, and you paid him 4 times the amount that Deshaun is making, as soon as that contract was dry, before Steve Smith's signature was dry on the contract, Deshaun should have been signing his contract. It's pathetic that Smith is making more money than Deshaun Jackson. And I can understand, Deshaun's frustration there. On the flip side of it, I don't agree with how Deshaun's going about everything. You play the game and you prove why you're needed. And then in the times that you've played, or Deshaun has played, he hasn't been productive. You know, he's dropping passes that are hitting him right in between the numbers. You know, inexcusable. And then, you know, there's been talk about him being afraid to go over the middle, and I'm not so sure about that. You know, and people are saying because he's afraid to take the hit is why he's afraid to go over the middle. And, you know, I'm sure at that very moment he might be afraid of taking the hit, but it's not playing on his mind as much as people are making it out to be, I don't think. But regarding his contract, you know, it's a two-sided situation, and both sides are at fault. That's the best way to put it. And we're going to move on from there. Who should be the Philadelphia Eagles' next offensive coordinator? That is a very legitimate question. It's a good question. A lot of people are starting to think that Steve Spagnuolo, the head coach for the St. Louis Rams, is the perfect match. And frankly, you know, I don't see any flaws with it. But we'll see it if St. Louis lets him go. It's looking that way after a pretty bad couple of years there, and not really having too much success. You know, there's for a head coach there likes to be a sign of some sort of improvement from year to year, and unfortunately the St. Louis Rams, they're just a bad team at this time. You know, as they've been for quite a while now. You know, the possibility of Spagnuolo being released from or fired from the Rams, you know, it's there, and it's something the Eagles front office should be looking at. And Andy Reid has got to be microscoping this entire situation, and he's got to make the right move. If he wants to stick around in Philadelphia for one more year, he's got to be going over this with a fine-tooth comb. You know, who are the best options out there? And right now, Steve Spagnuolo is the front runner. He had a lot of success with the New York Giants in 2007 and 2008, a ton of success as their defensive coordinator. So definitely, he's looking like a pretty attractive option at this point. Going from there, you know, what are the team needs? Where is Philadelphia lacking? I think the areas are obvious. Linebacker, you know, Jamar Chaney just isn't getting it done. Mosey Foku, he's not getting it done. None of them are getting it done, basically, is what I'm trying to get at here. And they're not filling in the gaps on the wide nine. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, it's the wide nine. No, it's not. It's not the wide nine. It's the linebackers. And, you know, most fans will leave it at that. They'll look at the linebackers and say, okay, well, that's it. You know, it's the linebackers' fault. The Philadelphia Eagles linebackers coach isn't doing something right. He's not teaching the linebackers what they need to do in the wide nine. Maybe it's a simple matter of him not understanding the wide nine. If that's the case, he needs to be with Jim Washburn night and day getting this thing figured out. But if not, you know, that guy right there could be getting the axe too. And I'm not sure of his name off the top of my head. But the Philadelphia Eagles linebackers coach, you know, he's quietly going under the radar up to this point, and then I'm kind of curious as to why. So we'll see what happens there. The safety position, that's another big spot. Kurt Coleman is a beast when he plays inside the box. But if you put him in coverage, sorry, Kurt, you need improvement. You know, the guy definitely needs improvement there. And he's not very consistent in his tackling. When he hits hard, but it's not very consistent. So I'd like to see some consistency there. You know, he's ranked within the top 5 in fan voting for the Pro Bowl. We'll see. You know, I think there's improvements that he needs to make before being in that category. And you know, that's no discredit to Kurt Coleman. You know, he's a good young player. He needs to get better, and I'm sure he can. But the Eagles need to upgrade at the safety position. That's definite. Because on the other side, Nate Allen has just been one injury after another, and he's missed so much time, and it's becoming very similar to a Victor Abiamiri situation, where you know, both are expected to have a lot of talent coming into the NFL. Both were actually second-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. So, and neither one, it's just injury after injury with Nate Allen, and it's limiting his production both on the field, because he can't play, but he's not learning as much because he can't practice and he can't play, with all these injuries. So, the Eagles need help in the backfield, the defensive backfield. So again, we'll see what happens there. They have a lot of draft picks this year. There's a lot of one-year players that are going to be heading out. Like Vince Young, you better already be packing Vince. Ronnie Brown, you were almost traded, during the trade deadline. So and you openly expressed happiness for the potential trade. So, before that all went down with Jerome Harrison, and thank God that did. My heart out to Jerome Harrison for going through that, and it's a good thing the trade actually was initiated. Because without that, who knows if anybody would have ever caught that. So that was a good thing. But Ronnie Brown, ultimately, you're done in Philadelphia. I would be very surprised if he came back. And Derek Landry, he definitely has the potential of coming back. He's been stepping up lately, and getting into the backfield and stopping plays, and he's been quick. So I've been impressed by Landry. I think he should come back. Maybe even if it's just for another year, just sign him to a 1-year deal extension and go from there. And then from there, it's the playoffs. With the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys and Washington Redskins all losing, somehow, miraculously, the Eagles are still in this playoff hunt. I don't think they're going. The cards are stacked against them in order to get it done. They have, not only do they have to win out, they have to beat Miami Dolphins, who have been coming on strong as of late, especially at home in their own house. You have the New York Jets after that, and Revis Island, and we'll see how Vic's absence affects him in 2 weeks after coming back for 2 weeks. Followed up by 2 division teams, the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. And both those teams right there, they are thirsty for the Philadelphia Eagles. They are looking for blood after the way that the Eagles, beat them. Rob Ryan, or of the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, he was saying the Dallas Cowboys were going to whoop the Eagles, rear ends and all this and that, and then they just got blown out. And my hat's off to the Eagles for that. I love seeing the Eagles beat the Cowboys, but it's going to be tough. Those 2 games are going to be tough, and that's only part 1 of the process. They also need the Giants and the Cowboys to lose 2 games. So, Dallas has, the Giants have a tough schedule for the next 4 games. Much tougher than the Dallas Cowboys. But I don't like relying on any team to have to lose in order for the Eagles to advance into the playoffs. I'd rather, get the job done during the regular season and then earn your way in, not back your way in. And that's about it, guys. That's where I'm at with the Philadelphia Eagles. Changes need to be made. It looks like Andy Reid's coming back for next year. So who's he going to hire for the defensive coordinator? That's going to be interesting. And, we'll go from there. Thanks for checking in, guys. This is Dan Dubrow with Bleeding Eagle Green. I'm checking out.